In this hour of the show, what do you make of King Charles heading to the United States for a state visit? Now, we've already had President Trump, here twice for state visits. When Sir Keir Starmer went over, you might remember, he handed him the invitation from His Majesty in the Oval Office, and it was like, oh, yes, I'd love to come. So we rolled out the red carpet for him, and the US want to roll out the red carpet for King Charles. In normal times, you would think that's a lovely thing to do. The two countries have so much in common. The so-called special relationship. We've helped each other out over the years, and let's be honest, much of the population came from here, and it was founded by people from here, from Suffolk actually, back in the day in Jamestown. So lots and lots of links. But President Trump has been less than complimentary recently about our Prime Minister, about our troops in Afghanistan, and about NATO wanting to invade a NATO country in Greenland, wanting to annex Canada to become a state of the US, when the head of state there is King Charles III, with the Iran war going on at the moment. And he's due to go in April, I think. So does it make sense for him to go to maybe smooth the waters, to calm things down between the two countries? Or should he not get embroiled in this kind of febrile atmosphere that we have? We've got President Trump one moment saying Sir Keir Starmer is brilliant, the next thing he's no Winston Churchill. Let's talk to Ben Lord now. Now, Ben is a big follower of the royal family, and he's been a royal correspondent to me over the years on the old station at the BBC, and he's with us now. Good afternoon to you, Ben.
Hi Mark, good afternoon.
Thank you ever so much for joining us on the programme today. In ordinary times it would be a no-brainer really, but we're certainly not in ordinary times, are we?
Absolutely, far from it. Typically, as you've mentioned, these kind of state visits are undertaken at the recommendation of principally the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and so through the Prime Minister there would have been the recommendation to His Majesty to undertake this. But globally there is an awful lot of restlessness at the moment, and it's fair to say that the President of the United States has somewhat of an unpredictable tongue on him at the moment, not least talking about our Prime Minister, but then you only have to look at the remarks he made in a press conference only yesterday to a Japanese reporter in the presence of the Japanese Prime Minister. So it does make one wonder that if His Majesty goes ahead with this, what on earth could roll off his tongue that could cause offence either to him and the royal family or us as a wider country.
He does love the royal family, though, doesn't he? And he's said he's got great respect for King Charles and the royal family. So hopefully he wouldn't put a foot wrong. But he is on home turf over there, isn't he? So he probably feels a bit more comfortable. And sometimes that's when the stream of consciousness comes out of his mouth.
Yes, I think wherever the president goes, though, he thinks he's the one in control and that he can do whatever he likes. And but that said, normally when the monarch undertakes a state visit, they do so apolitically. So it's not particularly there to promote a particular political agenda. It is there to promote the best interests of our country in the context of a relationship with that hosting nation. So one very much hopes that the ambience of this trip feeds into that kind of narrative.
I mean, his trip to us was very controlled, wasn't it? There wasn't like the state carriage parade through London, all of those kind of things. It was all done pretty much behind closed doors to avoid any hassle, any protests and all of that kind of stuff, to keep it nice and convivial. I wonder what it would be like, King Charles and the Queen going there. I really... At the moment, I can't imagine how it would be. I know the Americans would love to see them. But as you say, what could come out of it from Trump's demeanour or his mouth?
I think if we look beyond the president and his reputation, the American people have a deep affection for the British. Whenever I've been to the States, and indeed you've been to the States, Mark, yep. I'm sure you'll relate and resonate with the warmth of what Great Britain has been as the strongest, almost supreme ally that the Americans have always been able to rely upon. So I think, all being said, quite a lot of the American people are grown-up people, and they recognise the bigger picture, and they don't, most of the Americans that I have dealings with, don't support the narrative and the reputation that the president promotes on the world stage.
Okay. So should Charles go, or should we postpone it for now, do you think?
Well, I think that, between now and when that visit's due to take place is about the same amount of time that the Middle East has had this latest unrest. And that just goes to show how unpredictable things can be, and that there could be all sorts of twists and turns. So I don't think anything is particularly guaranteed one way or the other. I just think ultimately the security personnel on both sides of the Atlantic will be ultimately navigating this state visit in what's in the best interests and the safety and security of both our King and Queen and also the President.
OK, Ben, thank you very much. Ben Lord, Royal Correspondent for us here at Suffolk Sound, with his thoughts on whether the King Charles and Queen Camilla should be going to the United States for this state visit. In normal times, it wouldn't be an issue, was it, when the Queen went across? But we're in difficult times with America, the US, at war with Iran. President Trump calls it an excursion, doesn't he? But it is a war with Iran, a very, very volatile situation worldwide. So is it the time for King Charles to go over to the US to perhaps soothe the waters a little bit, to help rebuild the relationship? Or are you concerned at what Donald Trump might come out with? 07456 470 771 if you want to drop me a text this Friday afternoon, or you can email. It's studio@suffolksound.com. Don't